Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you for inviting me to the library this morning or this afternoon. You can't hear me?
No,
Oh, okay.
I don't have my library card with me, so I'm not sure.
You're not going to be needing the computer, so that will be okay. This is more of a presentation.
Okay.
It's not a training class. And
Perfect.
yep. So yeah, and actually, which is certainly a point of information I want to let you know. We're going to be talking about ways you can more effectively use social media as authors. Now, you can use social media for lots of reasons, of course, but we're not going to troubleshoot and dive into each product that's out there. What I want to do is be able to introduce these to you. You could decide the one that's the best for you or the ones that are best for you, and then you'll have to learn those on your own. I know there are some social media classes here that are also offered by the library, and so you can attend those, or you find other ways you can learn as well. And so, but we will get ourselves started. Maybe. There we go. So I'll just quickly introduce myself. Why basically am I here? And so my name is David Schuckman. I'm an information technology consultant with my own business. That's what it is. My clients are small business and not-for-profit organizations. And I'm also happy to be here and facilitate and train at the library. And some of the things that we do a lot of typical kind of stuff for small business. We do websites. A lot of what I've been helping my small business clients is update their websites when they need changes, but we can build new ones. If they have a project that they want to run and don't have a way of running it on their own, I help them with that, and some other projects like that. And also, while I'm not an author per se, I do have a blog. So I guess I'm a kind of an author. We are going to talk about blogging in the context of this program as well. And so that's my blog website. At the end of this program, I am going to give you a link where you can download the slides. They're not yet posted, so just wait till later this afternoon. It's my website as well, so I'll show you that at the end of the program. And if you have any questions, just raise your hand. Be happy to address them as we go along. Why wait for a long period of time? Of course, for those of you who are watching remotely, you could just post your question in chat, and we have someone who's monitoring the chat for you as well. But for social media, let's talk about what it is first. What is social media? And I found this definition, and when I had read it, and I read it a couple of times, I really thought it was perfect. And again, you don't have to write this down, you're welcome to, but you can download the slides later. But I thought this was interesting. It's the collective of online communication channels dedicated to community-based input, interaction, content sharing, and collaboration. I don't typically like reading off of my slides, but of course, this is a definition. And I thought this was perfect. But there was one problem with this definition, even though I liked it a lot. It's confusing. So I kind of had to boil it down. I said, I like this, but how do I simplify it? And I have to say, that's one of the things that I do for my clients. I'm the tech guy. You're running your business. You shouldn't have to talk tech. Using the internet to share information among people. That's what social media is. Now, there are different programs in social media. We'll be talking about them a bit of a high level, but that's basically what you're using the internet, some program on your browser to share information with other people, or they're sharing it with you. And that's really all social media is. So it doesn't have to be the 500-pound elephant. What is a communication channel? So that was in the definition, the online communication channel. And basically, it's all these things could be channels, or basically a means of communicating. That's all they are, a path of communicating. And this diagram is called spoke and hub. Imagine a bicycle tire or a wheel on your car. The middle is the hub, and the wheel spins around it. And on a bicycle, what connects the outside of the wheel are spokes. And so that's why it's called spoke and hub. And each one of these spokes does connect to a different channel. But notice your website is in the middle. So I believe that the website is the core of your online presence, the core of your social media. And the reason why on any social media platform, you may just write one short post or one little bit of information. You're not going to write lots and lots and lots of stuff, but your website can represent a lot of things at once, and people can thumb through all the pages. So they can always come back to your website, and then your website can direct them to another spoke, to another channel. PPC is pay-per-click, mobile is using mobile devices, public relations, affiliate marketing, display, not really sure what that, social media, we'll be talking more about that, email marketing. So one can reference the other and all go through the website. So kind of a strategy that I counsel my clients to follow. Have your website be your core of your online presence, and these other items as well on the outside. And so why is online presence important? Well, your readers, your customers, the people that would be finding someone like you, they expect you to be there. And you know that. And how do you know that? Because you search on the internet all the time looking for stuff that you expect to be there. And so if you want to be found, you need to be online. So the people, your readers of your work, are going to expect you to be there. People are searching for products and information online all the time. Just as I mentioned, you're doing that all the time as well. It also gives you professional credibility, brand credibility, because you are promoting yourself online. You're talking about yourself. You may be even writing or relaying information that people have written about you, testimonials and such. One of my clients gave me a testimonial the other day, and I put that on my website. In addition to your core expertise, you get to talk about your interests, your knowledge, other things that are important to you professionally or within your writing, and your expertise as well. So it's a way of promoting and talking about that and demonstrating it to your audience. And if you're not yet known, if you're not yet found, if you are authors yourselves, this is where people begin to find out about you, because they haven't heard about you just yet, but they may, in the Google search, put in a search term that might be similar to the genre that you're writing about, and you can come up, and they'll begin to find out about you. Or maybe they'll look on some of the book websites and begin to find you. The bottom line is, if you're not found online, you're irrelevant. And I don't mean that as an insult. I'm not saying you are irrelevant personally, but if someone is searching for someone like you and your information doesn't come up, they have no means of contacting you, so you're functionally irrelevant. And I can tell you with 100% certainty that this quote is true, and here's why. It's in bold red. That's why. And I think I read it on the internet, and everything on the internet must be true, isn't that right? That's not true, by the way. That is, yeah. The internet and social media gives anyone a voice. It's up to them to put what they put on there. I don't want to get into a political discussion here at all. But to benefit from social media, you need to have a clear strategy. And that's really what becomes important. And your strategy needs to take into account what it is you're trying to achieve. If you've ever been in business, you need a clear strategy that takes into effect what you're trying to achieve. If you ever worked for someone and worked on a project, the same thing. You have to have a strategy. So it's just not willy-nilly. Just don't post on social media because you're hoping something will stick. That's not the way it works. Now, the strategy is a bit iterative. You start by setting some goals. And you can see this is circular. And you try and figure out who your audience is, and we'll be talking about that. Then, based on where your audience is, you pick the platform or platforms or the programs to use. And then you start creating content or what you're posting there. You can download all these slides a little later, yeah. So you're welcome to take pictures, but you can download the slides. I'll give you that link later. And then you implement it and then see if it's working. And it may be working, not as well as you want, make some changes, and then try again. And you may go through the cycle a few times before you get comfortable saying, I think I'm hitting the audience in the way that I want, in the quantity I want. So it's a bit iterative, not much different than anything else that you've applied professionally. And so when setting your goals, and I'm sorry I'm speaking quickly, this is an hour and a half, 2-hour presentation crammed into one. And I want to make sure I cover everything for you, but stop me when you have a question. You do need to know your audience. You do need to know who it is I want to engage with. Again, because if you're not writing to your audience, then the people most likely to want to read what you're posting won't see it. So in my case, my audience, I'm a professional IT person. I look for lay people. I look for non-IT people who are running a small business. So I need to talk in layperson's terms. If I was catering to big business or to tech people, I might cater in technical terms. So what type of content will you post? Think about the audience you're trying to reach. What is it that may be of interest to them? What do you want to convey? So what type of content and how will you do that? Will it be written articles? Will it be pictures? Will it be video? There's lots of different things. You have to understand and investigate your audience. How often will you post? Is monthly enough? Is quarterly enough? Is weekly, daily? One of my clients posts 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. That's what she does. A gentleman that was a former client of mine, he used to post twice a day. He had a tip in the morning and a quote in the afternoon. And I just thought it was incredible. But yeah, that's what he was doing. He had a blog site that he was doing that. So he'd write a brief. Well, the blog was a page on his website. We're going to talk more about websites and blogs in a moment, so maybe it'll become clear. But you've probably seen websites before, and there's a menu along the top, like contact us, about me, products, services. He had one that said blog. And when you click on that, the page opened with the different articles. Yeah, twice a day. And I thought it was too much, but he said he was getting good hit rates and people were reading. So his audience liked it. He knew his audience. Okay. So where and how often? You might struggle a little. You might start slowly and pick it up. You might look at people in your space that are similar to you, see how they're posting. If they're posting weekly, then you should do about the same. Also, be aware that the different social media programs that are out there, whether it's Facebook, LinkedIn, Snapchat, any of those, they all work a little differently. So when you post in one, it might be different than posting on another. Just may work a little differently. You may reach audiences a little differently. And just be aware, because you want to see how best to reach your audience. So you're going to write the content accordingly. And again, we're not going to go into any deep dive into any of the programs and products. We're really just here to introduce them to you. And what do you want to happen as a result of what you're posting? Are you selling books? Are you driving people to your website? Is the book that you wrote used really to support the business that you're in? So in one sense, you can even give away the book because you're really trying to drive core customers. So you have to figure out what it is that you're trying to achieve. In my case, I did not want to monetize my blog. I want to use it to demonstrate my expertise, and I'm hoping that my small business clients will refer me to other opportunities, other prospects. So I was looking to make direct income from it. That was my goal, my activity. So who is your audience? Well, it's probably not all those people, but basically it's who you want to reach on social media. It's who you want to reach in business. It's who you want to reach whenever you're looking to engage people. Yeah. Did you have your hand up? Oh, okay. Sorry, the corner of my eye, sorry. And that's really who your audience is. Now, I can't tell you individually who your audience is because I don't know you. We're just meeting each other for the first time. So you may have to figure that out in yourself. And as I was mentioning before, you need to understand what's important to your audience, because once you understand what's important, then you can understand how to communicate with them. If they are spending time online, then being online is a good place to be. If your audience are maybe older people, pre-retirement age kind of thing, that's what kind of where I am too. Maybe they're still reading the newspaper. That's where you want to advertise. So you have to understand your audience so that you can get the best result of your advertising and promotion. But social media, even if it's just one website or platform, is very common to use these days. Understand, as I was mentioning a little earlier, are they a consumer-based? Are they a retail-based? Are they lay people, not within an industry? In that case, the kind of wording you're going to use and the message you're going to use is going to be in their language, so it's easy for them to understand. Imagine if I wanted to introduce to you, I'm assuming for the moment you're not technical from professionally technical, and I wanted to talk to you about setting up a Wi-Fi for your business. And I got into setting up IP addresses and static and dynamic and going into all these technical terms. I'm not trying to impress you. I'm just not thinking properly. I'm not getting the message across to you, except this is really hard. But if I talked more in a sense of, you'll be able to do your work and not be plugged into the wall, and you can go from office to office and room to room and easily share your devices and your screens with other people, that would make more sense as a business person running your own business. So you want to make sure if it's a lay person, you do it that way. On the flip side, if your audience are industry people, Maybe you wrote self-help guides or how-to guides or industry-specific type information. You can't talk like a layperson. You can't write like a layperson because they may get the impression you don't understand my business because you're not using the terminology that I'm used to. Again, knowing your audience, you have to know how to communicate with them. Not just the platform or the screen to use, but the language and the wording that you'll use. So who is your audience? Now, for an author, I actually got this from a New York Times best-selling author, but for you as an author, assuming you're all authors, this was a very interesting article that I read, and I just thought perfect for this presentation that I do. So who is your audience? Well, for one, it's the personal reader. It's the person who's going to buy your book, to read it for themselves. Your network of fans, friends, family, all those things. So you're hoping to sell hundreds or thousands of copies of your book. And I'm just assuming you're book authors. You could be, of course, writing articles as well or online content as well. So you may think, yeah, that's who my audience is. And maybe it is. But in addition, there are other audiences as well. Because if you want to sell 100,000 books, you've got to reach 100,000 people. That may be a little slow to start. Maybe the bookstore browser, right? Someone who just goes through the bookstore. They don't know you, but if they see your book in the stack, they're going to pick that up, right? So a bookstore may themselves attract a lot of people, and they may come across your stuff. So you want to be able to maybe appeal to someone in the bookstore or someplace where your content is posted. Also, people who buy for others. You may want to reach out to, if let's say you're writing a book on management style and the like, you may want to reach out to managers. Yep, come on in.
I'm sorry, I'm like, is it okay?
Yeah. And also, as I mentioned, these slides you can download later so you can catch up with the information. Sit anywhere you'd like. You don't need the computer.
Yeah.
I remember when I was working in industry, I used to work in corporate America. There was a new manager that came on board, and he bought books for the staff. He had this management style. He came on board. He wanted to share it with us, and he bought, there were about 6 or 8 of us. He bought those books. We're not using the desktops.
They're not using
Not using the computer. Yeah, I'm not wearing my mask. I want to make sure I get my message. I'm sorry if it wasn't loud enough. So you may be looking at, for you, depending on your content, that's who your audience is, the person who's buying for others. The retail buyer, now that's not the person who goes into the bookstore, but that's the person who buys for the bookstore. You may want to try and reach buyers of books. Imagine if you got connected to someone at Barnes & Noble who buys books. It could also be the people in libraries who buy for their stacks. You may want to reach out to the admins at libraries as well, so your book can be exposed that way. And if you're lucky enough and get a little bit of attention on the media, whether it's social media or traditional media, someone who'll talk about your book, even though it's not an individual reader, it's someone who'll talk about it. If you were in the Oprah book club and talked about, boy, you'd all of a sudden get a lot of sales right away. Now, achieving your content at Oprah might be a little bit of a challenge, but there are different people at the media level that you could talk to. There are local people that do that as well. But what I'm trying to demonstrate to you is you're trying to sell what you're writing to more than just the person that reads it. You're trying to sell it to people that can generate a little bit of buzz for you, or someone who can buy more than one copy, because that will be beneficial to you as well. It's not just one type of person is your audience. Okay. And what should social media be about? At a high level anyway, what should social media be about? And a lot of people kind of get it wrong. A lot of people think it should be about me, me, me. I'm writing about me. I want to tell you about me. This is why you should learn more about me. How can you help me? I'm trying to sell something. How can you help me? Of course, you can help me by buying my stuff. But that's not as effective as you being a help to the people that are finding you and reading about you on social media. Social media should always be about the person that you're trying to connect to. It's about them. Just as you might have initially thought it's about me, 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 which is a little bit of a selfish attitude. They're selfish. It's about them. And think about the people you're most willing to help. You're most willing to help people that have helped you in the past. So here you're being the helper, and they'll think about you the next time your name comes along or something similar in your genre comes along, and then because you help them. So you want to provide value to your audience, not just show off about you and talk about you and why there's value to you and you're great. You want to talk about the quality of the information that you're providing them. And ultimately, if you remember that Spoken Hub picture slide that was a few slides ago, you want to direct them to your website. Now, if you don't have a website and you use one social media site as your kind of landing page, that will work as well. But websites are really by themselves better. Yeah.
Are you going to talk about how you set up a website?
Yeah, great question.
We're going to talk about websites, not in great deal about setting them up, but of course, when the class ends, I can give you some more tips on that as well. Yeah. So if there's something that's not in the slide, just ask the question. I'll be happy to. Okay. But I've got 2 or 3 slides on websites. Yeah. Remember, it's the hub. I've got to talk about it if it's the hub. Yeah. Ooh, I'm sorry. I should have quieted that down right away.
You're popular.
Yep. I'm just going to turn this off. Come on. I think my car warranty expired. I think that's what I think. So in terms of social media platforms or programs, what's the most effective? Well, the real answer is what's the most effective question is what's the most effective for me? And because we're talking about audience. But if you're someone that's going to promote business to business, if your audience are going to be more business people, statistically, these are the platforms that tend to be the most relevant right now. This was a Content Marketing Institute study done just under 2 years ago. I've updated this slide. They previously had the 2016 slide deck. It did shift a little. LinkedIn is the #1 B2B or business to business platform. Twitter is #2. I'm not getting into a discussion, should Elon Musk buy Twitter or not? That's not what we're here for. And besides, I don't have an opinion about it. Facebook is still powerful, but it's not #1 for business to business. YouTube and Instagram, which are video and image content, more and more images and video are becoming more relevant. And if you've heard of these others like Pinterest and Quora and Reddit and Snapchat, all those, they're a little bit lower. You can see on the right side here, they're a little bit lower in terms of for B2B marketing. Now, another year or two, this company will put out another study and it could shift a little. Yeah. Business to business. If you are a business, pardon? Oh, so let's say you are a business or you are writing to a business, assuming author, a business audience. You're marketing to business people. You are a business, you're marketing to business people. The alternative is what's called B2C, business to consumer. Are you marketing to the retail person, the lay person, someone who's not a business person? So what you'll see is from the B2B to the B2C, you know your audience, I don't know your audience. These sites are shifting a bit. Facebook comes right up to the top. LinkedIn, I'm actually surprised it's on the top 5 because it is very business oriented. I'm very active on LinkedIn. I'm not very active on Facebook at all. That's just the way I am. A little bit active on YouTube. And again, video and imagery right in the middle there. And some of these others, you may have heard about these like TikTok and Snapchat and others, not quite used as much. They're more personal sort of communication right now, or they just don't have the user base yet to be as competitive as a marketing platform. It doesn't mean you shouldn't be on these lower ones. It depends where your audience is. If you're going to be marketing to kids, you probably don't want to be on Facebook because kids are not on Facebook, even though it's the #1 for business to consumer. You might want to be on TikTok because kids are going to TikTok these days and the more video oriented ones. You have to define your audience. I'm just giving you a starting point for consideration. And by the way, the link that's here on the bottom, it's on the other page as well, another link. That's a link to this whole article if you want to read it. So when you download the slides, the link is active. You'll just click on it so you can read that if you'd like. So any of the links that'll show up here are all live. When you download the slide deck, you can get the links. So there are some social media sites that I found that are pretty productive, can be productive for authors. And we're going to go over several of them. It doesn't mean you need to be on all of them, but just want to give you a starting point of where you may want to look, at least from an author perspective. Now, there could also be industry specific. If you're writing about a very specific topic, I can't target all those here because there's just too many potential that are out there. That's part of what you have to do. But in terms of promoting writing and what you're writing about, there are a lot that are out there. Some of you may have heard of this company. It's called Amazon. Actually, Amazon is into a lot more stuff than just books. They can send you into space now if you'd like. And then write about it and then put your book on Amazon. They started in 1994 as an online bookseller, and they shook up the market because only having warehouses and not having storefronts minimized overhead, so they're able to sell at a discount. And that's still why they're able to sell things a lot less expensive than some stores can right now. They have a couple of different self-publishing services. So if you want to publish on your own and not work with an independent publisher, you may want to try using some of these. So look into these possibly. You can publish the Kindle. It's a completely free program. They have a dashboard that you can use, and it can help you self-publish on Kindle. Kindle is basically their mobile platform. It's good for tablets, well, computers, phones, and so it makes the books or articles or anything else that you're writing available electronically. The Kindle app is free. I know I've got it on my phone, and I've got it maybe on this computer. So you can, people download it and you can publish your content there. They also have Publish the Print, where instead of buying a bunch of books up front and keeping them in a closet until you can sell them, you can kind of publish them on demand. And it is not completely free. Setting up the account is free, but depending on how much you're actually publishing and distributing, they charge by the page or group of pages. So look into it for yourself if that's of interest. And then also what they call Publish the Audio. They have this, ACX is the company, and there's different royalty charges that they have. So I guess it's how many you sell or distribute. Streaming wise, you can get a royalty fee for it. So you can check their website as well for pricing. You may have to Google ACX for that because that's a company that they bought. So Amazon owns that company. And you'll see a couple of the other sites that I show you are now Amazon companies. What's funny is I've given this presentation for about 5 years, and over the years, Amazon has acquired some of these other sites. So this is good for audio content. Yeah.
In the publish to audio, who reads your copywritten book?
Anybody who can find it. You're getting paid based on the way they distribute the book.
Who reads the audio, actually text, or am I?
No, audio would be listening.
I'm sorry.
Listening to it.
Yeah, but who reads?
Who's gonna narrate?
Oh, I see that.
I'm sorry.
You have to work that out with them. There are ways to get well-known people to do the reading. You can be yourself.
Yeah, who would, you know, for example, in my book, who would be narrating that on this kind of a situation?
Well, like what David was saying, it all depends. You just said you work with them on it, but I don't even know how many.
Okay.
So in other words, you want to know if I'm listening to the book, who the reader is.
Who is narrating this on the audio?
I believe that it's up to you to find that person, or you can do it yourself.
Yeah, or you can hire someone through them.
It's your decision.
And I'm sorry, I want to make sure I'm clear. What do you mean by narrating? You mean who's reading? Who's reading the book online?
The book online.
Yeah. So essentially, it's part of the service, or you can provide it yourself.
So nobody should be doing that until we've had permission from you, either you as the person who's actually speaking to the audio, or they have written legal permission.
So I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a copyright lawyer. I can't, that sounds reasonable. You need to speak with either an editing consultant who knows the area,
My publisher.
your publishing consultant, Right, but it would be no different than, any sort of copyright, I would think, but I can't speak to that. So,
Okay,
yeah,
thank you.
seems reasonable. Yep. But yeah, you can get almost anyone who's willing to do it and pay for them to do it, or do it yourself if you have, think you have a good radio voice. I actually know someone who is a voiceover artist. Maybe he'll read it for you. Yeah, I'd be happy to introduce you to James. Okay. Amazon now owns this company, Author Central. It's another company that does help for you as an author or someone who's writing to publish information or get it out there. You create actually your own Amazon page on Amazon. And you may have seen this before. You open up the book on page in Amazon, you look for a book, and there's a little link, click here to learn about the author. And that's essentially what this is. And so it's kind of your Amazon homepage. And so you can put your biography, you can put your headshot photo, you can post some information that's there. Yeah, so a lot of information there. You could talk about yourself or the book or your style, your genre. And then it can help you track your sales and marketing through Amazon. If you're selling to other places that this is not connected to, it may not be able to do that as easily. You'll have to aggregate those offline. But you can see trends. You can see if your book is in a certain category. You can move your book in Amazon from one category to another and maybe over time track the sales performance. I heard something interesting from a friend of mine who was a publishing consultant. And what she said was, when you publish in Amazon, pick an obscure category. Now, then, yeah, I was going to tell you that. And then what happens is aggressively market your book, whether it's send out email, even willing to give away for free for about a week or two, right? And it's an obscure, I can't even think of an obscure category, something relatively close to what you have in an obscure category. And then encourage people to download the book or to buy the book or get it for free or sell it for $1, whatever. Get some sales. And then after a week or two or three, whatever you're comfortable with, switch it to the more correct category. And so let's say it's you're writing about accounting. And then your category is accounting for idiots. I don't know, I'm just making something up, and no one else is there, or there's very few. And then you can then promote yourself as the #1 book sale in accounting for idiots, where there's no competition. You just generated activity. Right? And you can say for 3 weeks you were #1 on Amazon. And it's not a lie. And then switch it maybe to business books or whatever it's appropriate for you to do. And I thought that was an interesting trick. So keep that in mind. It's from my friend Karen. And you also get help from staff. There are online people at the Author Central that you can contact. So once you become a member of Author Central, there are people that help because they want you to be successful. They want you to sell through there. Okay. And again, when you download it, this link is live. So you can just click on the link on the download document. Audible, also now an Amazon company. It's basically similar to what we saw before. It's a spoken content, it's audio content. It's another platform to get your content on audio. And again, you have to either work out the speaker on your own, the reader on your own, or through them, they can provide that. But it's basically where you can listen to digital books, audio books. They have different means for you to be able to promote that kind of information and publish that information. And it is sold through Amazon. So, it's now linked through there. So you can sell through there. I do have one client who is a bookseller. And on his book selling page, he's got links to either the Audible page or other pages as well where he sells. And this is their recent pricing, 30 days free, or this $15 a month. They do run specials, so if you're an Amazon Prime member, you get discounts occasionally as well, so see if that makes sense. You could try it for 30 days and use that time to learn, and then will it be good for your audience? You may even try it for 30 days, see if you can generate any revenue from it. Or try it from month to month and then cancel if it's not working. Goodreads, this is another very popular program for promoting and sharing content. See, you're all writing notes, but you can download the slides later if you like. Goodreads recently was acquired by Amazon. I just updated this slide a couple of weeks ago and found out it was now owned by Amazon as well. They have over 90 million users. They call them book lovers. They don't call them users. And this was at least as of 3 years ago. And they really want to help people share books. It's a bit of almost like an online site for sharing and providing information and posts and learning. Right? You can add books to your own quote unquote bookshelf. That's your account, is your bookshelf, your digital book. You can provide ratings and reviews. Other people will do that for you as well. You can see what the people you're connected with, you can see what they're reading. And so if they're reading in your genre, you may want to get some information, you may learn something about that and come up with ways of the way you may market. And also if you're someone who's eager in reading in certain topics, you'll certainly get other ideas for other books or topics that you'll want to read. So you'll see, oh, my friend read this, I'll read that one too. So if you're a book lover and enjoy reading, another place to do that. Another website for doing this, oops. Oh, and they do have what's called pay-per-click advertising. If you're not familiar with pay-per-click, it's a free advertisement. So if you create the ad, it's free. It sometimes pops up on the accounts. You probably see like ads that pop up on YouTube's or other places, and sometimes you click on them and sometimes you don't. When it gets clicked on, you pay for it. So if it's your ad that comes up and someone clicks on it, you're paying for it. I don't know what the price is. I don't know how they price that. I can talk more from the perspective of Google Ads, works similar. But pay-per-click is a very popular form of advertising because the ad is free until they click. And if they click, you've now driven somebody to your website or to your page. So you're kind of getting a guaranteed lead. So it could be very popular. Issue, another platform where you can share ideas, read books as well, different content. They say they want to connecting content to people. That's what their goal is. It's not yet owned by Amazon, at least not that I could find. So I don't know if Jeff Bezos has his eye on that one. But it is a digital platform for all different types of media. So certainly written media. What's common on it, magazines, newspapers, portfolios, DIY guides, and the like. You don't have to be just a book writer to be an author. You could write in different styles in different places. And they give you publishing tools once you become a member. So it can help you publish on their site, create the content. And this is their pricing that I last saw. If you're willing to accept ads, it's free. Otherwise, if you want some additional features, I don't know what all the additional features are. If you don't want the ads, it's $19 a month. One of the additional features is they do limit the amount of content you can upload. There's a fixed limit to how much content you can put. So if you're putting a lot of content up, they might limit you. In the free account, you might have to shift. Oh, is there a question? Okay.
There is just a comment, and I thought I would share it so everybody knows. Somebody on the chat wanted was hoping that the webinar, the class is being recorded, and it is too, so the library will be posting it on our YouTube channel, so you can find it after.
Okay, very good. And typically what I do is when I see a YouTube link like that on my website where you can download the slides, I will also put the link, you can play it here. So it'll be a link to the library's YouTube channel, not my YouTube channel for that case, but good to know. Another one, Scribed. Okay, and as far as I know, not yet owned by Amazon. That's more of a joke. And so it's another reading subscription service. And their big thing is they want to let you know it's very mobile. So they kind of promote that. You can take your content on a phone or a tablet. You don't have to just be sitting at a desk. And so they have over 500,000 different types of, in their catalog, of different audio books and print books, I guess print to audio in their catalog. So it's a digital library. And so their members tend to be everything in the publishing and writing world, authors and readers and publishers. And you can publish up to 100 megabytes. That's how they promote it. But I put here, you can see at the bottom, that's about 500 pages, give or take. Someone once asked, is that double spaced? I don't know. It's that same sort of question, like how much is that car? If you have to ask, you can't afford it. So if you think you're writing a lot, you might need the subscription after that. Otherwise, it's $9.99, $10 a month, but your subscription is always unlimited use. And you can exceed the 100 megabytes as well. Kindle Unlimited. So Kindle, this is the Amazon product for virtual or taking it with you. So they're among the largest marketplace of ebooks. So over 1 million ebooks. Once you get their subscription, it's unlimited. And also some are given away for free. So you can download them for free, or you can read them for free. Anywhere you can get online, or if you download it onto your own device, because the Kindle computer that they sell you can download to devices. It's just a phone, but you can download it and read it on the app. And so they also have a special. The first 6 months is $30, otherwise it's $10 a month. And it's funny, so you have all these different services, each are $10 or $20 a month. It's almost like cable TV and streaming services. And where does it stop? Again, you have to decide what's right for you, because when you look at this, it's like the 1,000-pound elephant, right? How do you eat the 1,000-pound elephant? You start with one at a time. What about some of the big platforms that are out there, the big social media platforms? We talked about the reader-oriented ones. We're not going to get into industry-oriented, just otherwise to mention that they're there, because I don't know what your industries are, and I would have to research to find out the ones that are best for your industry audiences. Well, Facebook, bottom line, is the largest social media platform on the planet. As of the end of 2020, they had 2.8 billion users, billion with a B. That's more than a quarter of the planet has a Facebook account. So there's a good chance somebody you know has a Facebook account. 65% of US residents have an account. That's as of a statistic I found from CBS News reporting a few years ago. It might be a little bit higher than that. Very good for reaching that consumer, that B2C audience. The one sector that tends not to be on there, even though they're consumers, kids. Kids are not on Facebook. You know why kids are not on Facebook? Because their moms and grandparents are on Facebook. They want to be in their own place. LinkedIn is the #1 business-oriented social media platform. I tend to be spending a lot of time on LinkedIn. As of the end of 2020, they had over 740 million users in 200 countries. It's a different type of a platform than Facebook. It works differently. A lot of these work a little differently. You tend not to put a lot of pictures and video on LinkedIn. You tend to put more of short postings, not like Twitter, it's a little different. It's just meant to be a little different. You use it also to drive people to other locations. So you might write a short post or article and then drive them to your website or some other place online. You could drive them to your Facebook account if that's where you're posting. And Twitter. Twitter is used, they don't promote their active users, the current users, total users, they promote their active users. So they average, at least as of the end of 2020, 192 million active users. They have now, give or take, about 350 to 400 million users on the platform, but they say a little bit less are actually active. But that's a large number, large percentage to be active. Because if you think about it, there are people who created accounts that don't use them, or people who've passed away, or other reasons why they're not active any longer. Okay. You tend not to write a lot on Twitter. The reason why, they limit you to 280 characters. So you can't write a lot. Some people call it microblogging, because you're just writing a little. But the idea is that's what you want to do. You want to have an announcement, a short piece of information, and put a link to where they can get more information. It's driving traffic to your website or to your other social media platforms. That's really what Twitter is meant for, or it's very powerful for. Blogging. Okay. Some of you have heard of blog, hopefully, as a concept before. It's a website, or it's this individual web page on your own website. And that's the kind of way I have mine set up. One of my menu tabs along the top is my blog, and you click that, a page opens, and you write these posts, these little short articles. They're called posts, and that's what a blog is. It tends to be short, tends to be a few paragraphs. you don't tend to write anything new. If you come up with a new vaccine for COVID or something like that, don't publish it in a blog. Go to the New England Journal of Medicine or something else. But it's really good for commentary or promoting something that's already out there, talking about it. Give your opinion on something that somebody else wrote. Right? It could be snippets of your book. You might want to write, maybe put the first chapter out there and then click here to download the entire book or the entire article. So that's really what blogging is for, shorter type content. And again, it could be on your own website, or you can have a separate blog site, which is really a website. A blog site is a website. It's just used a little differently. And you can demonstrate, your interest, your expertise, your passion. So the way I use my blog site is for expertise purposes. I want to demonstrate that I know what I'm talking about, and I'm teaching an audience of non-technical people. And then hopefully you learn something, you say, David may be someone I would want to contact. That's what I'm hoping my prospects are doing. That's the way I use my blog site. So will I show you how to set up a website? No, but we're going to talk about websites at least at a higher level. And any of your more technical, specific questions we can take offline. Be happy to answer those, just for the boundary of time that we have. But I'm a firm believer that everybody who wants to promote anything should have a website. The reason why is, if you've been on Google and you put in a search term and you get a result of stuff, the results are websites or pages on websites. Okay? So you should be found on your website. It will also be your social media as well. They'll be there. So let's talk a little bit about the content, what you're writing and putting in your website. You want it to be descriptive, but you don't want it to be too wordy. Sometimes people are not captured or engaged if they have to read a lot. They can read a lot once they are engaged. Like some people will say, try reading the first chapter of the book. And then you hook them, they'll read the whole book. So that's sometimes what happens. Or a headline draws you to the article. So not everything should just be snippets like that, but you're not going to put on your homepage a lot of written content in number 4 typeface. You just don't want to do that. Also, you're going to want to put keywords and key phrases as part of your content. Now, I cannot tell you what your keywords are, but if you want to be found online, if you want to be found in a Google search, people are going to search for you with those keywords. If they know who you are, they'll use your name, but they don't know you yet. So maybe it'll be your genre or something you're writing about, and not something specific in your book, like the name of your character, if it's not a famous person. Of course, if you're writing nonfiction about someone, you could put those people's names because they may be a famous person. But if you're writing fiction, or even if you're writing fiction on a nonfiction event, but all new characters, you can't put the characters' names, and you could, but you can't count on that because they're not going to be looking for that. You have to use the words that other people are going to use to find you. And I actually got into a little bit of a disagreeable discussion when I did this presentation at a writers' conference. And I met with an author, and he wrote fictional work about the Wild West. There were real events that he did, what was the OK Corral. So he was writing about Doc Hollywood and whatever, the Holiday, thank you. Doc Hollywood was the movie. But he was writing fictional events about them, but they were real characters. And the fictional events were new characters that he was making up. So it's based on OK Corral. And so he said, people need to know who my characters are. I think I have to put my characters here. And I said, I hear what you're saying, but if I'm looking for you, I don't know your character's name. I won't find you based on your characters. You have to put the real people in there, and I'll learn about your characters once I'm engaged on your site. Right. He needed the epiphany. He needed to get it. Okay. Also, do add images. Do add video clips if you have it, because a picture's worth 1,000 words. I guess a video's worth 1,000 pictures. We are visual animals, so pictures are engaging. They generate interest. I wouldn't only put pictures in your website, but add them. Just like I've got pictures on some of my slides, just to enforce the content a little bit. add links to other websites. And it sounds a little counterintuitive. Why am I going to get them off my website? There's tips for doing that the right way. When they click on the other link, you want it to open a new tab in the browser and leave yours alone. Don't put them in the same tab where you are so yours doesn't go away. But the sites that you're linking to should be similar to yours. Because in the Google world, in Google search, it's like a digital reference. So if you're writing about the OK Corral and you have a link to the OK Corral Museum, then Google says, oh, they really must know about the OK Corral. Because Google says, oh, it's OK Corral here, okay. These are like digital references. So you actually like to have in your website links that are complementary to the content in your website. And we're not going to get into search engine optimization here. I can talk about it offline. In the 2-hour version of this presentation, I talk about search engine. At least I don't think I do that here. But that's what search engine optimization, that's a technique for search engine optimization is. Let Google know, the search engine, Google know that your content is also connected to this other relevant content off your website. And your website must tell a story. Your content must tell a story. And I don't mean that as a narrative, like you're writing your book. But if you have a website with 10 web pages, the 10 web pages must all be of the same written theme. If you have 10 different interests, don't put different interests on those 10 different pages because they don't complement each other. They may be contradictory. So if you are an author and you write about business books, but you also like gardening and you also like dogs, I would not have one website that talks about all three. I would have 3 different websites, each talking about their specific topic. Because what happens is your reader is not going to read all the pages of all the different topics. You're looking for one reader at a time. You'll find very few people that have the same exact interest as you. So they may move away from your website. And in the search engine world, Google will get confused. What is this website really about? If they put in dogs in a search, should I put this website that talks about 3 different things? So it may not, it's confusing. So your website should have a common message, a common thing, a consistent story across. And again, those keywords will be used throughout. Yeah.
Yes, good question here.
Yeah.
One thing about with authors, many times the author will have a website for their book. So if you have a website for the author, okay, maybe they've written a couple, 2 or 3 books, then what would you say here that you want to have the author and have your 3 books on that website? Or would you, what would you say about
If the genre is different among the books, if the author is that prolific to write about different things, then what I would counsel is say, create a website for each book and its category. So that's 3 websites, the accounting, the dogs, the gardening, right? Have a website for you, the author, if it's you, that says, here are my interests, and link to those 3 from your main website to that. Now, if someone does a Google search, they may just come up with one of those book sites, not your main site. And each of the book sites can reference your site back. Remember that spoken hub, right? Your website's in the center. One's going back and forth and up and down and all over. And so you would do that. But if you were an author that you wrote about the same theme, like Stephen King just writes the thriller type, you can have a web page for each book because your whole theme is of the same genre. Yep. And that, yep. Also on your website, add something we call calls to action. A calls to action could be some sort of image, pop-up. It gives them something to do. It's like the little spinning silver thing that they're staring at. We get tracks our attention. It initiates a desired action. You want to keep people engaged. And so give them a free download, give them free shipping if you're selling something, whatever it is. You might also want to say, sign up for our newsletter. Now you have their email address and you can blog them or email them occasionally. So you want to give them something to do. This is very powerful, both from an engagement perspective and a marketing perspective. So it does increase the effectiveness of your message. Another kind of website is called e-commerce. And I'm sure you've seen these types of websites before. So what e-commerce basically is the ability to buy and sell anything electronically. It's an electronic channel, such as the internet. It's also called online shopping. So if you've been on Macy's.com, Amazon.com, you're buying something, it gets delivered a day or two later, that's e-commerce, electronic commerce. That's what it basically means. There's no barrier to time or distance. So your favorite coffee seller might be in Seattle, not locally. You buy a couple pounds of coffee, get it delivered, you get your favorite coffee. But you may not be able to buy something locally, right? Or you just prefer shopping at 10 o'clock at night in your pajamas, right? You might not go to Macy's at 10 o'clock at night in your pajamas, or maybe you will, no shame. Yeah, during COVID, I spent a lot of time in sweatpants, even going to the stores. So that's e-commerce. Now, where do you build, or how do you build e-commerce? How do you sell electronically? There are a couple of ways to do it. You can publish and sell books this way as well, or anything that you want to sell. There's a website called eBay. eBay has been around for years, the mid-90s. It started as an auction website, and they still do the auction thing where things bid, but now it's mostly purchase. You just buy right away. So here's someone selling this portfolio. Right? So you may want to find an e-commerce website as well. Another one, Amazon.com. You can have your own store on Amazon.com. You can host your books on Amazon and sell. Now, generally, when you use an Amazon and eBay, they take a pretty big percentage. But on the other hand, you're paying for this. You're only paying them when something is sold. You're not paying a monthly fee. So you don't have to build a website and host the website and pay for that over time. So, there's different ways of managing that cost. And this way, it's based on the sale. And actually, this is something, Matt's Factory. It's not even sold by Amazon. It's sold by some company called Matt's Factory. And I know they're real because I bought 2 outdoor mats from them. That's why I got this picture. So that's the mat that I bought. You can do it on your own website, right? Have a buy it now button, right? Buy my book, download, whatever you're going to do. So you can do that as well. And then there are these e-commerce platforms. And really what they are, they're companies that allow you to build a website that specializes in e-commerce structure. So some people may say, should I be on Squarespace? You may have heard of them. Should I be on Wix? Should I be on WordPress for my website? Or should I be on Shopify? Shopify has all these e-commerce templates that make it very easy for you to build an e-commerce website. So if that's something you want to do, just wanted to put it out there that it's available to you as well. Some best practices. If you are going to sell online, there are some best practices I suggest. Make a good first impression. I don't know if this guy is making a good first impression. I don't know if he's the guy coming to take your daughter to the prom. You never get a second chance to make a first impression. You also want to make sure that you're using good copy, good images. Don't have blurry images, taking stuff with your cell phone because it's just cheap. If it comes out blurry or shaking or off center, may not make a good first. You want to make sure that you're using a platform or a website displays well on a small platform like a smartphone. And if you can capture and display customer reviews, that's just very helpful. Because if you think about times you may have read reviews to help influence your desire to purchase or not. You want to make it easy to purchase as well. Show the prices up front. This is a pet peeve that I have with a couple of companies. Best Buy does this every once in a while. And I understand why they do, and I don't like it. What Best Buy does, and some of the other online retailers will do, they'll say, put the item in the cart to see the price. They've got you halfway to buying it already. And now that it's in, well, what if it's too expensive? They got to remove it from your cart in order to continue with the rest of the purchase. I just find that annoying. If a thing costs $100, tell me it costs $100. So make it as easy of a shopping experience for them. Have appealing shipping. If you can't give away free shipping, maybe fixed price. Shipping is $10 no matter how much you buy, something like that. And have quick checkout options. Don't make them go through lots and lots of pages just because you want more information. Maybe have 1 page, 2 pages the most. Make it as easy as possible. Think about how annoyed you get when you have to wait on a long checkout line. This is the digital equivalent of that. And be prepared to fill the orders. This is actually the biggest problem new e-commerce people have. I never thought I would sell that much. Or now they got all these orders. How do I get them to the post office or to the shipper? And there's different ways to do it. Have that plan. Do you need boxes? Do you need envelopes? You may need to buy them ahead of time, or know that the business stores like Staples and Office Max, they have them already in stock for you. So just be prepared. Nothing stinks more than I've been waiting 6 weeks for this to arrive, unless it's custom furniture, right? So what social media platform is best for you? And this may be the thing you're going to want to write down. It depends. And that's the right answer, because I don't know your audience. It really depends on your audience. And you can't be on every social media platform. And the reason why is you're learning social media. You're just getting introduced to it. This is an introductory program. And so social media may be a bit overwhelming. It may be something you're not used to yet. You're just learning how to get proficient with one. So you can't be on every one. So instead, find the one that's right for your audience. It could be where your genre, if you're writing a specific genre, where they typically post. And then look for those. See if there are a lot of people commenting, if they're active, if the pages are getting a lot of views or whatever, a lot of reviews on books and stuff. If there's a lot of activity, that's probably a place that you want to be. You want to be where your audience is hanging out. The other is you want to be where your competition is, where other people write like you. Why? They figured that out already. They figured out where to be. And you may say, no, I don't want to be where my competition is. I want to be far away from my competition. Your audience is already there. You want to be there. I'll give you an example. On Route 1 is Home Depot. Where's Lowe's? Down the block and across the street from Home Depot. The same on Route 130, right? So these stores have figured out that they want to be near each other. Matter of fact, Home Depot has a very large budget for figuring out where to put stores, and Lowe's basically puts where Home Depot is. Or think about it, you drive down the street, you're going to go out to a fast food restaurant, you see McDonald's. What's across the street from McDonald's? Yeah, which is next door to Kentucky Fried Chicken and Taco Bell. They congregate because they figured out you didn't really decide what you're going to eat till you see the choices. At shopping malls, the restaurants used to be away from each other. Now there are food courts. And the reason why, especially if you go with family, one kid wants a hot dog, one wants a slice of pizza. You don't got to go around the whole mall. You go to one place. So that's your strategy needs to be the same. You need to be where your audience and your competition hang out. And you're going to try a platform or two. See what's working. You may be getting hits on one, not hits on another. Don't pay for the other one. Stop it. Don't put your time in on the one that isn't working. Put your time in the one that works. So what do? Pick one tool. Just find one. Find the one where your audience is. Start with that one. Then you sign up and create an account. A lot of times creating the account is completely free, or sometimes there's a 30-day trial and whatnot, but just get started that way. That's the next step. And then if you need a little help, here are some suggestions for where you can get help. There are webinars that can talk specifically about different products. You can go onto their websites as well, their YouTube channel, ask people that you know that are using the platform, how do you use it? Lots of places you can get advice and guidance. Okay. And then get started with that one. If not, this is overwhelming. Social media has the potential to be overwhelming. And if you look at it, how do I eat the 1,000-pound elephant? You'll never get started. So start with just one. Okay. One topic, I took it out and added it because I wanted to make sure I get it in, is called analytics. It's a way of keeping track of how many views and hits and shares and things you're getting. Are you getting activity? Okay. So my longer program, I have this, I've sold this search engine optimization. My longer program is like Thanksgiving. After a while, you got to get away from the table and digest it. The 1 hour program doesn't quite get you there. So what analytics are is you get to monitor the performance of your web pages, of your social media pages. You get to try different things and then say, when I tried it, things improve, not improve. You have to decide what to do with the information. But you can measure the effectiveness of your social media strategy, the content you're writing. You get to see what works best. it won't tell you what to do. It won't tell you these different analytic tools. I think you should do this. You'll have to figure it out based on the information. And then once you start finding what works best, you can be much more productive. You get a better return on your investment. And am I achieving our goals? Remember, right at the beginning, we talked about you want to have goals. You want to know what it is you're going to be achieving. Am I beginning to achieve that? So for websites, there's a free tool called Google Analytics. It gets installed on your website with a free Google account. I'm not talking about how to install it, where to install it, all that. It's not very hard to do. Okay? But it will tell you right down to the zip code where your website visitors are coming and which pages they're looking at, how long they're staying, all that kind of stuff. They will not tell you the individual people. I'm sure Google has that. They're just not exposing that in Google. But you can see how many people are coming to me from Princeton, how many are coming from Mercer County, how many are coming from New Jersey. Okay? And there's different ways of grouping the geography. On social media, they have things called clicks, likes, follows, comments, all these things. If people are commenting or if they're liking and they're clicking, those are all things. All the sites like Facebook and others have those things. How many impressions, how many times are people looking at your content? Open up a YouTube video and see how many times it's been viewed. You can see right there, it's been viewed 1 million times. Those people are probably making money off their videos. Okay? You will decide what to do with the information. Right? If you're getting 1 million views, it's probably working. If you're getting 1 view, it's not working. Try something else. It will not tell you to do something else because it doesn't know you and your audience. You can work with social media consultants. They may be able to help you with that, certainly. But you adjust your content. You adjust your content on your website. You adjust your strategy. See if that's making improvements. And check every few weeks. So as we wrap up, social media is using the internet to share information among people. Remember, I had the longer description before, but this is really what it is, just sharing information. You want to, it can include your website, which I believe you all need to have a website. It could be e-commerce, different social media platforms, lots of places. You can do email marketing and others as well. Tweak the performance, monitor and tweak the performance. I just want to turn that off. And monitor, see what the performance is doing. If you need to, make adjustments. And then find the one platform that'll just be right for you and get started. So that's where we are. So later today, this is where you can find the slide deck. So my web address is princetontechadvisors.com, princetontechadvisors.com. Now, this is the web page you want to go to. There are no arrows on the web page. The arrows is just showing you where to click. Click on workshops, and then the one at the bottom, recently authored programs. And later this afternoon, this will be the #1, the top one that you'll see. And then later when I get from Dana or the library, the link to the video, I will also put the link on this site as well, but you can check the YouTube channel of the library. Yeah.
Can you speak to how we set up the author's website, or website for authors, since this is social media for authors? Please.
That's another presentation. How do you set up a website? So among the things you need a web address, www.authorsname.com, princetontechadvisors.com. There's my contact information. Then you need the website itself. The website runs somewhere. So you need, it's called hosted. It needs to be hosted somewhere. Now you can host it yourself, but you need a computer infrastructure to do that. Or you can use another hosting platform.
Okay.
So I'll give you the names of some without recommending them. GoDaddy, HostGator, Bluehost are some of these companies out there. You just Google web hosting companies. Okay. And then with those, you get the account and you contract for hosting services.
Okay.
Those companies typically have their own and then 1 or 2 that are popular, like WordPress. Then there are other companies, if you don't want to use them, one is called Wix, Weebly, Squarespace. And what they do is the product is the hosting. So if you said, can I put a Wix website on Weebly? No, it's Wix is on Wix, Weebly is on Weebly. Oops, what happened? But WordPress is installed, it could be anywhere. If that's not clear, let's take the question offline. And then you start building the website through a template, and there's a gazillion templates. They're like pictures at the top with text on the side. All those companies that host websites will have templates in their programs. Now, the content, the written word comes from you, or if you hire someone to write it. But the design comes from either you, or you can hire a web programmer. Some of those companies will offer web design services that you pay for.
How much does it cost, for example, at Squarespace? Offhand.
So hosting at Squarespace, give or take, now they have different pricing platforms. They may have a free model. A couple of these companies have a free model, but you get the pop-up ads in them. If it's professional, I say don't do that. What you may do is use it for free, create the website, and when you're ready to publish a month or two later, then pay. You're probably starting at about $10, $8 to $10 a month.
That was, and the other question I had is, by the way, congratulations. What's in the clap? This is really gonna.
Thank you very much.
Wikipedia. Do you help people learn to use Wikipedia? I got my hands slapped when I went on and they said, "Oh, correct us. We love to have corrections." Yeah, well, I did, and somebody who lives in East Anglia got on my case and said, anyway. So people.
I've had the same experience as you when I update on Wikipedia, because, yeah, because this is being recorded, I'm going to monitor my filter my comments.
Okay.
Wikipedia is kind of this self-monitored thing. You could be someone who does monitor content that other people are posting. So I don't know how strict any individual monitor is to whatever guidelines or rules that Wikipedia has. And so sometimes it's a little hard when you post something, it'll be there for an hour and someone will find it and either change it or take it down. And once you do that, you get an account on Wikipedia, you can drill down, you could find the person, they might say, Joe 1234, and you can communicate in Wikipedia and basically say, what happened? And then Joe, who's monitoring that, assuming his or her name really is Joe, may get back to you. So I've had it both ways where they've basically been nice and said, here's what I think you did wrong, or they just said, too splashy or too advertising. They don't want anything promoting. They want.
It wasn't. They asked for correction of academic knowledge. I gave it to them.
So you have to be careful. So I haven't figured them out. I'm not an editor on Wikipedia.
Okay.
I've been successful a couple of times, but it's usually trial and error.
If it wasn't advertising, it was well. Let's beg to disagree without.
Well, it's that person's interpretation of whatever it is you wrote. You can write something like, I'm a big fan of the academic program at Duke University because Duke provides these services, let's say. And it's of interest because Duke is providing service. Someone reads it, says, you're promoting Duke. And then they take the content down. So you have to come up with a creative way of not sounding like you're advertising. That's what I've noticed with the people that have commented back to me. Yeah, sorry.
I'm a world-class expert on what I put on about this particular person and publish the book.
Sometimes you could push back to them and say, based on me, and you can look me up, I'm an expert, I'm just writing commentary, and see if you can get away. And sometimes who's ever been looking at your page will, and others won't.
Okay.
But beyond that, I don't have much experience. Yeah, another question. What's pre-publication? Oh, I see. So no, I don't have an opinion on that because I'm not a publisher. I'm not an editor. So I can't give you constructive advice on that. You would need to speak with a publishing consultant about the core strategy of that approach. Yes. Sure.
When looking for web design, to help them, do you have any tips?
Sure. You'd want to, like anybody that you bring in, even if it's a plumber and electrician, have a discussion. This is what I want to do. Do you do that? Do you work in my service area? Do you have experience using these tools that I want to use? And even how much do you charge? But you want to get comfortable with using them. Imagine if you called an electrician to put in a, I don't know, a charger for your car, and that's not a service that they do.
So just out of curiosity, what search term would you use? The web design, because
So I would take the simple approach and say web design for authors or something like that, or web design for publishing, web designers, something along those lines.
Okay.
You could also ask, once you get connected to the publisher, or if you're working with an attorney to form a business, your corporate entity, see if they have experience with or recommendations for you as well. Yep. So let them do some of the legwork for you. Okay, good. Yeah. Oh, good. Yeah. Yeah. Take advantage of what other people have learned. Sure, it's very helpful. Yeah, nice. Any other thoughts? Is one online?
Not online. I just had a comment. There's been a lot of questions about website building. What getting scheduled yet? The library often offers classes on website building using links, WordPress, check that out. You're asking when you see me around.
Okay, thank
I
you.
can point that out for sure.
Yep. Yeah, terrific. Yeah, I'm a big fan of this library and the resources they offer. Apparently you are as well. So yeah, look at their events all the time and see if there's one that can be helpful to you. Yeah, as you can see, this was more than an hour, and I go a little longer in another version of it. So I could not deep dive into any of these platforms, but take advantage of the other classes that the library has here as well, and may be very helpful to you.